we're trying to do something good, if we're doing it from a position of the flesh, it can be detrimental. It can be, harmful.
You're just trying to make things better for your family, and you may have walked hundreds of miles just to get to this country.
Yeah. But they carry the weight of overall the direction of the household, and realizing that obviously, yes, we're a team, but it falls on us at the end of the day.
Hey, they need so-and-so to do this and this. You think you can do it? I think I can learn.
Yeah,
I think I can learn. And I'd go and I'd learn so many different trades. And to this day, there ain't nothing that can go wrong with this house other than the AC.
I'm trying to be the husband and father that God's called me to be. And I barely feel like I'm the man that God has called me to be.
When they're taking off the job, not only does it shut down that job, but it shuts down the supply chain for that job.
One of the things that I'm realizing more and more is that everything else in this world is so faulty and so full of error, and it causes so much burden and so much grief and so much anxiety and all of these things. But the one thing that says it doesn't cause burden, anxiety, and grief is the one thing that is so hard for us to get into. Welcome to Healthy and Holy Lifestyle, a place for men ready to do life differently. If you feel like you've been trying to figure out manhood on your own, you're not alone. Here we wrestle with real questions about faith, family, fitness, finances, and have some fun along the way. No fluff, no fake perfection, raw conversations about striving to live a healthy and holy life. Let's get it. Steve, man.
What's going on, man?
It's been a minute. It's been 1 week since we got to speak. I'm just kidding.
I'm telling you, it's like we'll do it 1 week and then something crazy happens the next week to either you or me.
The struggle is real, my friend. The struggle is real. Make sure my mic's in the right place.
Especially this time of year. I mean, we're really understanding the hustle and bustle of the holidays coming up. And trying to make money and try to save money at the same time, and also try to still be generous, because that's something we talked about on the last one.
That's right. Right.
So how's that going for you? All three of those.
Well, I'm further away from my goal for $1,000 because, and maybe some of the people listening or watching have not heard this yet, but we have a fifth wheel that we've been trying to sell for about a year now.
A camper?
Fifth wheel camper.
How big is your camper?
36 and a half feet.
Good night.
2022.
It's a mobile home, basically.
It is a mobile home. It really is. It's a nice camper. Yeah. It has solar power, like solar on the roof, and it can run for several days on the solar. It's not like a solar panel. It's like 8 of them or something like that. It's crazy.
Redneck with money.
It's nice. Redneck with a paycheck. You know what I'm saying? But yeah, we've had it for sale. We had somebody come to look at it, and I was going to put the slides out. It has 3 slides. I was going to put the slides out, and one of them just would not go out whatsoever. The other one went out while they were there, and so they were like, "Well, just get this other one fixed and then talk to us." So, yeah, okay, cool, And then they were a little bit kind of. We almost shook on a deal. We kind of shook on a possible deal. Yeah. The guy said, "Look, you get that thing fixed, I'll do this much," and he's like, "Okay, all right." And his wife goes, "Don't make that deal yet." And he's like, "Well, it's just kind of a gentleman's deal. It's just kind of, this is where we're at." Okay, cool. Well, then they roll out, and then the other slide wasn't going in. And I was like, or going out, or it wasn't going back out, because I was like, well, let me just make sure that one's good to go. And I was like, oh, no, I'm going to have to get this thing fixed. Well, anyways, I get both of the slides fixed, and the total was like $425 for a dude who came in with a pickup truck, and he did great work. I'm not hating on him, but I mean, it was like I could have got down on the dirt and done it, since I haven't heard from them. So anyways, I say, I sold that lift. And I also think this is also like some of God's blessing and provision and providence.
Sold your car lift.
I sold my car lift.
Yeah, which is very handy. Every guy in here knows the sacrifice if you have to sell your car. That's like, I sold my toolbox.
Yeah, the good news is I have another one, but the other one is at our shop, at our house, and it just hurts to not have one, because it made it easier to store the vehicles that we do have. One on top, one on bottom. Just made it easier when you do have a shop that can handle it. But we lost our space, which we talked about in a previous episode. But then I had to use the money from it for the camper. And now that person's ghosted me, because that's just part of the weight that we carry, man. Sometimes we're trying to provide, we're trying to, get some things situated. I want to sell that camper so that I can have some capital for this real estate project that we're doing that was probably going to go over budget.
Okay.
And so my idea is if I can sell this camper and get that capital back, I need to sell it. I'd like to sell it.
Yeah.
But we own it. So it's not like I'm making payments on it or anything like that. It's not draining me.
Yeah. But the money isn't in the bank, it's in the yard.
The money in the bank it's sitting in a storage lot right now, And so there's this.
Are you paying storage on it too?
Yeah, I'm paying storage.
So you're having to fight that battle too.
Yeah, I'm remembering to pay because they kind of shoot you an email every once in a while like, don't forget.
Yeah.
And then they don't say anything, which is not their job. It's my job to remember that, right? Okay. But that's often how it falls for a lot of men. And I'm not saying every man, but a lot of men, they try to carry all of the burden of making sure the household financially, some things are taken care of. Now, I know that there are women out there. I'm not saying there aren't.
Yeah, there's a lot of single moms that have to juggle everything by themselves.
There's a lot of married moms. There's a lot of married women whose husbands don't try to really manage finances.
Yeah.
But there are also a lot of men who carry weight. It's not just financial.
Yeah.
But they carry the weight of overall the direction of the household and realizing that obviously, yes, we're a team.
Yeah.
But it falls on us at the end of the day. And at least for the men that I know that want to lead well, they carry a lot of weight that is not seen or heard. So like my investment property, that has property taxes, that has meeting with the contractors, that has all these things. But then my regular house has property taxes and it has things break. Matter of fact, our HVAC went out the other day. That was another couple $100, but I will say wifey paid that, but then she took the money from the main account.
Yeah.
But it was one of those things where it was unexpected. And it was just another weight on top of oh man, we're juggling all these things. I got to be here to meet with this guy instead of being over here handling this, instead of working on my website stuff, instead of making sure I'm selling and doing things to grow our business. It was just juggling. You ever feel like you're just spinning plates and going, I hope I don't drop.
Yeah. And the bad part is because I remember when I had 8 cars. And I had to maintain all 8 of those cars at one time. And I had 5 Harley Davidsons. One of them was my son's, though. So I technically had 4, but I had to maintain his too because he didn't do it. But I remember having that plus the house, and which granted, my wife at the time, she was working too. She was working full time. But it was a lot just keeping up all these toys. Now, these were just toys, So eventually we sold all that stuff. It got to be too much.
Right.
Because you start getting this appetite, well, I'll just get this one more, then I'll get one more, then get one more. And then before you knew it, I remember just I felt dirty because I had too much junk, too many toys, basically.
Right.
You feel like, okay, this is gluttonous. This is a lot of greed, And because a hurricane was coming and I had to get all those vehicles out from where they were parked because there was a lot of trees, and I put them all in the front yard. So they looked like they were lined up like a car lot.
Okay.
And I remember looking at it, and I told my wife at the time, I was like, this is bad. And she had been on me about adding to the collection so many times. And she's like, you've got to do something. This is ridiculous. We have 7 or 8 cars and all these motorcycles parked on our front lawn. We look like a car lot, a used car lot at that.
You can become a car lot real quick.
None of these, now,
for sale.
None of these were high dollar vehicles. I mean, yes, they were hot rods, but they were,
they were rough rods.
Basically rat rods, because I mean.
Rough rods.
Yeah, they were rough rides. Yeah, except for one, and that was her car, which was very nice.
Got you.
But I can remember trying to maintain all that stuff on the outside looking by. If you drove by, you'd be like, man, they got it going on over there. But if you knew that every waking moment that I was at home and I wasn't at work, I was still working, just trying to maintain batteries and keep oils changed and all the fluids changed. And then it was just always something breaking.
Make sure nothing was leaking, nothing
so
was...
when you see people with all these assets, they're really liabilities.
A lot of times,
Unless they're going to go up in value, which none of mine were any of the caliber that would go up in value. It was a struggle. We got rid of all that stuff and simplified our life. Yeah. We just got rid of all of it, and which was a good thing. I miss some of them now. I look back on
Yeah.
pictures, but you know what? Hey, I had it, and now I don't ever have to worry about what I should have bought or what I could have had,
Right,
because I
right.
done had it and I've sold it, and I don't want no more of it.
Right.
But I know, but still, I still have a problem with adding too much to my own plate, and when I get to where I have all this free time on my hands, I feel like I have to fill up that free time. And usually what I do is I'm like, well, how can I make money? So I'll start something on the side and I'll start
Right.
doing this. And then
Right.
that takes up so much of the free time,
Yeah.
especially when it starts taking off.
Yeah.
Because the more successful you get, the more you want, the more successful you want to be. And that's tough because you just keep it because, you find things to put your money into so that it will grow, but it's also can be a hindrance too.
Yeah.
Because you start looking for more and more deals. And believe me, there's always going to be deals out there. I keep
Right,
telling myself
right.
that in the mirror. There's always going to be deals.
But this
Steve.
deal is unlike any other.
My wife told me today, you need to chill out trying to do so
Yeah.
many things so we can spend time together,
And the
It
other
happens.
side is not just money, is I find myself wanting to connect with other people and meet people and like grow relationships and grow in brotherhood with other dudes. And like, it's like, yo, let's get together. And so like, I'm in this group where we're reading through these books, and we're kind of holding each other accountable to read through a book a month.
Yeah.
And we're talking about it. And then we're like, how does this apply to our life? How do we see ourselves? And like, we just got done with The Hiding Place, which is Corrie ten Boom's story. And she was the little girl whose family was kind of taken captive by the Nazis because of that they were helping people out that were in danger, and they were hiding people, and they were doing this stuff. And you read her story and you're going, would I let people hide out? Would I be willing to stand against a dictatorship like this or a regime like this? And then I literally, and I know some people are going to come at my neck for this, but it is what it is. I immediately was like, do we not face this right now with some of the stuff that's going on, and like not saying, hey, I get enforcing laws, but there should be some due diligence and like proper ways and channels to do this.
Yeah.
I think ripping people off their job sites and coming after kids at school, and we're looking pretty Gestapo-ish at times, like, and so part of me is like, we need to uphold laws, but those laws should have due process.
Yeah.
And I'm sitting here going, on the other side of things is like, how do we walk in a time like this where I know that these people may not be here legally. I understand that. I understand that there's repercussions for actions, and there's, there's consequences for actions, but it's like, how do we not make this look so dehumanizing?
Yeah, and you think about the dad aspect of being one of those illegal aliens, that you're just trying to make things better for your family, and you may have walked hundreds of miles just to get to this country. Granted, you got in here illegally, but at the same time,
You're just doing
when your kids are
best.
starving and there's no jobs, or you're running from a dictatorship that's trying to kill you or ethnic cleanse your country, you've got to go somewhere. And it doesn't matter whether they've got a sign up that says no trespassing.
You're doing whatever you can
You're
to
hungry,
find.
you're thirsty, and so are your kids.
Yeah.
And you're going to do, as a dad or a mother, you're going to go and do whatever you have to do, even if it's illegal.
Right.
I mean, it's only illegal if you make a law against it.
Right.
So,
right.
I mean, I understand them having to do what they had to do.
Now the flip side of that is there are obviously people who abuse that are also criminal to a full extent of being a criminal, and abuse our empathy and sympathy. They'll abuse that, and they'll know like, well, they have a bleeding heart for us, so we can get more people over that want to do these things, and we can push this way, and we can do this. And so, that's the danger of scams, right? Scams play off of people's heart, right? People have a decent heart, so then they hear somebody's in trouble and they're struggling, and they're going, I want to help those people. And then they try to help, and it's a scam likely. You know what I mean? It's I don't want to say who, but I almost did. I know someone who was taken advantage of by a fake, federal call, right? They faked to be a federal organization, and they said, we have data on, here's the proof of who we are. Here's your old address. Here's this, here's that. You can get that off a piece of mail in the trash, right? And like eventually hunt somebody down and find out who lived there or whatever. And so, anyways, someone that I know was involved with a scam, and they sent money because it was like, if you don't pay these fines, we're gonna do whatever this thing is. Yeah. And that person was like, they know so much about us, it's got to be true. Yeah. And they got scared. People get those little text messages, and these are, now I know that we were just kind of started off with talking about the weight that we carry, but we're all one click away or one thing away from being in complete desperation need. Oh yeah. Because our whole account's been drained. Everything's gone. Yep. And so in a moment, we can be like these guys who are trying to come over illegally. We could be somebody who goes, I just got to feed my family. Yeah. And I'll do whatever it takes. Yeah. And so, as I'm reading this story about, and I know that, maybe some people be like, that's not a man's book. Okay, fine. But I'm reading this story about this girl and how she stood up and like, I'm going to do the right thing. And then like, I'm reminded of her dad, Casper Ten Boom, when he was like, he gets arrested and they said, we'll let you go because you're an old man. We'll let you go if you promise to not house any more people. And he was like, well, you might as well just throw me back in there.
Yeah, just put me back in there. Yeah.
Because he's like, I'm going to do this. And that's the weight that men carry often. Yeah. Men are willing to do whatever it takes to a fault. Yeah. And I think sometimes that also, which obviously in this story, that's not necessarily the truth, but a lot of times it's because of our lack of trust in a heavenly Father.
Yeah, it's a lack of leadership because we're not being led, or we're not being led by the right person or right.
We're being led by our flesh.
Anyway. Yeah, we're being led by our flesh. Yeah,
we can do a good thing in a bad way, right? Like even though we're trying to do something good, if we're doing it from a position of the flesh, it can be detrimental. It can be, harmful. And that's something I've been wrestling with personally. Yeah. I'm trying to, we're in the middle of redoing a website. We're doing this project over here, excuse me. We're doing all these things. And it's like, I'm tired. I'm trying to figure stuff out, like mentally exhausted. I was looking at code, trying to learn what code is wrong in this. Why is this not working? Why is this not communicating with this? I don't know what I'm looking at. So I'm over there running through code thinking maybe I can learn how to fix this.
So where's your plan book? I mean, don't you have this all planned out exactly how it's supposed to go?
It's going to run super smooth.
Yeah. I mean, it's impossible, especially when you're, I mean, it's hard enough when you have a regular day-to-day job and you're trying to budget that little bit of money that you get against everything you need and want and your family needs and wants. But then when you don't know what when you're an entrepreneur and you don't know what the regular paycheck is, you can, maybe if you have numbers from last year, you can kind of tell if you run a restaurant or run a landscape, lawn care, that kind of thing, you kind of know what you did last year. So what you're going to do this year. But in real estate or just investing in the stock market, you don't know. Right. You might be up on Monday and
way down
standing
the next day
on the edge of a cliff by Friday.
That's happened.
All over. Somebody said something on the news about this company, or they're going to put a tariff on this or that, and all of a sudden, what you put your money into is just tanked,
and it's worth nothing.
Yeah.
Now there's safeguards you can put in place, but if you're somebody who you're a long-term holder, or you're somebody like that, you're looking kind of further out, and you're going, this thing should be undervalued right now, and I'll be okay, and it just keeps, and you're like, I won't be okay, and I know part of that is, what's your risk tolerance, what can you handle, and I should do better at that. I should say that's something I need to do better at, is say, I'm going to set a stop loss here or whatever, but it's also one of those things where, we're trying to handle all these other things in life and at the same time be the husband and father. For me, I'm trying to be the husband and father that God's called me to be. and I barely feel like I'm the man that God has called me to be.
I'm gonna hit you with something.
Yeah, hit me with it.
Not anything crazy.
No,
but
you're good.
What is your? I mean, you're telling me what all your plan A is. I'm telling you what my plan A is. I'm going to go to work and I'm going to do this little 3D printing business on the side, and you got all your irons in your fire. Mm-hmm. That's your plan A. But what is your plan B, to where it's like, my plan B is like, oh God, I got to get a second job. You know, like a 9-to-5 job. I got to get. See, I'm already working the 9-to-5, so I guess I got to work a 5 to 11, or 5 to 12. Yeah. You know. Have you ever thought about what your plan B would
absolutely.
be if everything fell apart, your investments fell through?
Absolutely. I go back to work, whatever work it was.
Yeah. Whatever.
I would go off of probably past experience stuff.
Yeah.
I would say, look, I haven't done this in a long time, but your boy can learn again.
Yeah.
I'm actually already kind of in the process, and my buddy may listen to this, but I've got a buddy that works on golf carts, and I was like, this is a way I can learn how to wrench on something. And I didn't ask him to pay me anything yet. I'm hoping he will, but just because he's that type of guy, he probably gonna pay me. You know, if you're listening, I'd like to get paid. No, but he's a great guy, and I'm like, man, I like wrenching on things, but I don't want to sit there and wrench on cars for a living.
Yeah, because
that's a whole different world. But he's like doing this golf cart work, and I'm like, you know what? Golf carts are a little bit smaller, a little bit easier. You know, electrical, some things that I can learn. And I can get into it with him, and then him and I can flip some.
Yeah.
You know, but we can also be repairing other people's stuff. And so I'm actually starting right after the holidays. Nice. I just said, look, man, I need a few hours here and there because I need to have something coming in.
Yeah.
Because it also refreshes me to kind of feel like I'm getting my hands on something and I'm getting something done. Whereas a lot of what I'm building right now is like, what do you call it? Scalability and it's the backside of things. So it's all the inventory management and all these different things that can tie into these other networks. Because I posted recently that we attached the Healthy and Holy store to TikTok. Right? I got some orders on TikTok.
Yeah.
Well, I fulfilled them through my regular website, whatever. It did not communicate with TikTok. I didn't know that.
Yeah.
So I just about my whatever, and then TikTok sends me a warning. You need to ship this or your account's going to be struck. And I'm like, I did ship it. Yeah. And then I'm trying to post, I'm trying to say, here's the code, here's the tracking number.
Yeah.
But TikTok had already bought shipping. So they wanted me to use their shipping label.
Oh.
And I didn't know it was set up somewhere in the system that they buy the shipping. So here I've already shipped it. And I'm like, this dude's about to get a free package. Because I have to ship something with this label.
That's why their shipping is always so cheap.
It's tied into their system.
Yes, okay.
But
they must buy a block of it.
Yeah, but they charge. So the way it works, though, is like they actually, if you don't have it set up right, they'll charge you.
Oh, okay.
Because if you don't go in there and make sure all your settings are right, which when you're starting something new, you don't know what you need to click on and mess with. And so you're like, okay, my product's in there. Okay, good. It's connected to my store. I'm good to go.
Yeah.
You just offered 7 people free shipping. Like, wait, what? And that's nothing. Thank God I don't have 100,000 followers. And I'm like, I'm going to sell shirts.
Yeah.
You just paid $5 for 10,000 shirts. Like, I will never financially recover from this decision. But it's another one of those weights of when you're trying to get something started. And anybody who's running a business runs into these things. It's always one fire after another, after another, after another. And I just happen to be the type of person who, in the beginning, I'd rather have it figured out than sit there and act like it's not a problem. Because if it's frustrating with 4 orders, it's going to be crazy with 50.
Going back to what you were talking about with the illegal aliens and people being pulled off their jobs and stuff.
I didn't mean to.
No. The like in my industry, we haul construction dumpsters, where the guys that do most of the work are the aliens and legal citizens also. But
I don't think people like calling them aliens anymore.
Yeah, well, I'm just gonna call them Mexicans or
oh my
whatever.
Gosh.
But
We're going to get booted off of something.
No, I hope not. But when they're taking off the job, not only does it shut down that job, but it shuts down the supply chain for that job.
Correct.
Because lumber can't be taken to that job.
Yeah.
Dumpsters that I haul can't be taken to these jobs. I mean, and then that affects everything, because then the owner can't pay his bills because he's not getting paid. Therefore, he can't pay me, and it just keeps going up and up and up. But I mean, it affects everybody.
Do you think, and I'll put you on the spot here, do you think employers are the ones that should be held accountable for hiring people that are undocumented?
No, I don't, because they're trying to keep their bills paid, and they're trying to get, because in a society that we have is so competitive, and it's a competitive edge if you can get somebody to do the job a little bit cheaper. Which, granted, the best thing about having cheaper labor here to come and do the work is that most of the money stays here in this country. Yes, they do send money back home to their family, but they still got to eat here. They still got to live here. And there's people that own houses that need to rent them houses, need to sell them houses, need to sell them cars, need to work on their cars. I mean, they create, just in their world themselves, they create jobs for other people, because you got to have mechanics to work on their cars. You got to have houses to rent to these people.
Well, do you think we would have more American workers in the construction field if there wasn't an influx of cheaper labor?
We would have more American skilled tradesmen, and that's something that is happening in the automotive world right now. Is there's a shortage of mechanics, actually certified mechanics. And a lot of times now that these mechanic shops are going under because they can't get, anybody to go to the school or go to get the training it takes to work on these cars. Dealerships are closing everywhere because they don't have anybody to work on these vehicles, because they're not like, your Chevelle at home,
right.
Where you can open the hood and say, "Oh, I see, that's broke." That's exactly what it is. No, I mean, I can go down there. I can work on my little pickup truck because it's simple. But if I open the hood of Tara's car, there's probably 15 sensors just to open the hood of that car. And you got to have skilled labor.
Got to be a computer programmer.
I think that the main thing to fix all of it would be educating everybody, educating the regular American worker, educating, the illegal people that are coming over here, get them legal. That, the ones that haven't committed crimes and that aren't out here, gang banging and stealing and shooting people and all this. I mean, get them out of here. But, the ones that want to work, I mean, teach them our ways, and get them to teach our younger people how to do these trades. Because I think we can all grow together, but it's going to come from everybody's got to learn how to do these things. Yeah. It's going to take education.
Well, I definitely think, and for anybody that's listening, I think that's obviously a heavily loaded thing, because there's no one-size-fits-all answer to this situation. There is an issue with millions of people coming over when there are proper channels to do so. Yeah. And if you reward those who do that, then what are you telling the people who are waiting in line in the honest way? And so there's a lot of nuances and a lot of things, and so we're not going to claim that we know all the answers or anything to that. But I think this is also, like you said, the weight the owner carries is to continue to be able to pay his business people and to pay his partners and to pay the people and whatever. Like, I know that there are people that are making money hand over fist because of these workers. So I may lean on the side of, like, if it's supposed to be illegal to hire them, then I think there probably should be a strike against people who are hiring them, because that means they're not giving the citizens opportunity to work. Because believe it or not, there's plenty of people that want to work. Yeah. I mean, I know people that are putting in application after application after application. I know people that are on Indeed and all these places that supposedly help you get a job, and they have hundreds of applications floating around, and they've never gotten a call back. talking about super skilled people in their field and just never get a call back. And it's like, do these people just put, we're hiring like just to do it? Like they're not really actually hiring?
They're probably gathering information.
I mean,
they're just gathering numbers.
Or they're getting some applications in case in the future they want to get rid of somebody or something. I don't know. Yeah. I mean, but it's like, the job market out there is rough.
It is.
It's not easy. It's not, and not just is it not easy, it's not easy to get good paying jobs.
Yeah.
There's plenty of those little, kind of starter jobs, what I would call a starter job. Some people might get mad, but like if I were to go work in a grocery store and I'm not in a management position or something like that, that's a starter job in my mind.
Or fast food.
Or fast food or a parts store or who knows what, right? Like if I'm just working as a retail person in a mall or something, like I don't look at that as this is my final destination career wise. No. I don't mean a starter job like, I'm not knocking somebody who has to do that.
No, because those jobs even lead to
other jobs.
They do. They lead to management positions and
you learn skills.
Everything.
You learn skills and people. Dealing with people.
When I first started out as a teenager, 100 years ago, I would go to work. I went to work for a temp agency, and I found out something really cool about working at a temp agency is you work at this place for a week, you work at this place for a couple of weeks, and then you work at this. All of a sudden, you're gathering all these skills at all these different job sites. And that's one thing I loved about working at a temp agency. One, it was always different.
Yeah.
And as long as you're a good worker, the temp agency can always keep you busy. I never heard it for hours or anything like that, because I would take, if that phone rang and it was so-and-so at the office, they're like, hey, they need so-and-so to do this and this. You think you can do it? I think I can learn.
Yeah,
I think I can learn. And I'd go and I'd learn so many different trades. And to this day, there ain't nothing that can go wrong with this house other than the AC, which my buddy Justin fixed. But a lot of things with the AC I could probably fix if I could see where it's broke.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? But, I mean, when it comes to
I was about to dive into ours,
cars,
and then we found out it was under warranty.
I mean, every guy wants to fix his own stuff anyway.
Yeah.
If he's worth his, man salt. I mean, he is.
Look, if you're a man that's not good at DIY
so says
or
Steve,
whatever.
Not Conrad, so says
Hey,
Steve.
if you're a man that's not good at DIY or whatever, I just want to let you know the way you get good at DIY is by doing it.
Yeah. That's what YouTube's for.
For anyone on there who's like, I'm just not like that. I didn't know how to do anything until I did it. Yeah. I just had to do it. I was too broke to call somebody else to do it.
I'm going to tell you.
I was in ministry.
I saw a documentary on a guy that had no arms and no legs, and he operated his wheelchair through a little hose, and he blew into it to make it go and to do everything he needed to do. Wow. And he works for T-Mobile in customer service, and he's able to help customers all day long doing that job.
Wow.
And that man's got more limitations than you and I ever dreamed of. And I think about that guy every time I wake up in the morning. I'm like, I'm too tired to go to work. I'm like, he's at work. I got to go.
Have you ever seen the video of the guy working in the tire shop?
No.
And oh man, that'll mess you up.
What's up with that?
I wish I could. Let me see if I can find it real quick. I want to say he's literally like he's amputated like arm and legs, and he's working in a tire shop, and he gets the tires, and I'm sitting there going, I don't know what my daggum excuse is.
Why am I thinking I've seen something?
He's was it a double amputee mechanic or something like that? I saw this video and I was like, you got to be kidding me. Yeah, sorry, double amputee. I said the wrong thing. My bad. But yeah, it's online. You can look it up. It's a double amputee. My bad. I was thinking of somebody else for something else. But he literally just scoots around like with his hands.
Yeah.
And he'll get the tire and he'll climb up the ladder. I mean, it's just like, what is my excuse?
Yeah.
Now I guarantee you, if that dude can just swing it, he probably knock somebody clear out.
Yeah.
But that kind of comes down once again to the weight that men carry. He's not letting that stop him from moving forward in something.
Yeah.
Right. And as we, I know we've kind of bounced all over. And just so everybody knows, this is not a planned episode at all. This is just what are we going to talk about, and it kind of
understand if we jump around a little bit.
Yeah. Hey, we're chasing squirrel, you know. But there is genuinely weights that we carry when it comes to the emotions, the mental, the spiritual, the physical, financial, all of these areas of life. There's these weights. And you asked me about this plan B, and like I have a plan B. Like I said, I'm going to start helping my buddy with that thing. That's just something to get me seeing something physically done.
Yeah.
Because like that was something I liked when I was in ministry. I actually liked cutting the grass because I could see it done.
Yeah.
And I could see the work of my labor.
Yeah.
Right. I could see.
That's very important
what
for
happened.
a guy.
Especially when you're working on vision and you're building something behind the scenes and you're building something that, you get a sell here and there and you sell something and that's nice and you got some things. And I had some plans and some things that I was moving towards and stuff. I don't even know what's going on. Like my USPS, it shipped it from, I got it on Temu. Okay. I got something on Temu that I was going to use as part of my giveaways and building our audience and whatnot. Well, it shipped and then it got to our town and then it shipped back out. And now it's like up north somewhere. And I'm like, where is this thing going?
Yep.
I'm right here. But I will say that particular postal service is paid for by tax dollars. So.
You talk about sending stuff crazy places. I ordered something on eBay, and it was coming from, I think it was coming from Sacramento, California. And it got all the way to Charlotte, North Carolina, then to Greenville, then to the Anderson post office.
Yeah, this just happened.
And then went back to Charlotte. Like, I don't know why in the world you would send it back to Charlotte, but then I had to wait 3 extra days because they sent it back to Charlotte so they can make its trip back to Greenville and then back to Anderson again.
So mine made it to the post office that is a minute and a half from our house.
Oh, wow.
And then it shipped, and now it's in Cincinnati.
Oh, wow.
And I'm like, I was the destination. What just happened? Like somebody just like flipped the thing over and scanned a different barcode? Like, what just happened?
Well, my wife, she shipped something that I sold on eBay last week. And when they took a look at the box, they saw some writing on the side of the box and it had nothing to do with what was in the box. And they were like, well, what is this right here? And she's like, I don't know. He just used whatever box was laying around, But I didn't think about that. I was like, well, maybe depending on the box you use, maybe it has a logo or something. It has
a different label.
And their system's going to kick it, oh, that says Amazon. We got to kick it back to Amazon, regardless of what the label says.
A new sticker on it?
You put a new sticker on it. So, I mean, it's possible.
It's possible. Well, I hope I can get my money back. That thing doesn't ever return. I don't know. That thing's probably going to be all over. I'm gonna use that package as the package that went around the U.S. just to get to me.
It's like those old days when you see somebody's Foot Locker or luggage. It's got all those stamps all over it from everywhere it's been.
They've traveled too.
It was luggage that got lost at the airport and didn't have those stickers when you left it at the airport.
Oh my gosh.
They come back with all those
this one hit Nashville, this one hit New York. And you're like, I never went to New York or
the Eiffel Tower, Paris on the side of it.
I'm like, I never went there.
And how did he get to Rock City?
Well, and so part of me sharing that though is like you can have a plan.
Yeah.
And things are just gonna go chaotic. And I just want to encourage, anybody who's out there, one of the things that I'm realizing more and more is that everything else in this world is so faulty and so full of error, and it causes so much burden and so much grief and so much anxiety and all of these things. But the one thing that says it doesn't cause burden, anxiety, and grief is the one thing that is so hard for us to get into. And so, I know we've kind of talked about even this stuff going on with our nation right now, and the left, right, and blue and red, and all this stuff and all this chaos and all these things going on because of with undocumented people and people and dehumanizing people and different things. We as Christians, as believers, we have to be reminded and remind ourselves constantly that Scripture calls us to be not of this world, that we are in this world, but we're not of it. And so we have to be reminded that we look at those people as neighbors.
Yeah.
We look at those people as somebody to love and care for. Now, I get it that our nation is supposed to uphold its laws and it's supposed to do certain things. But when we come into contact with somebody, how do we treat them? How do we treat people who can't offer us anything in return? How do we treat the people who are hurting and broken amongst us? And while we have all these weights and things to carry in life, I'm also reminded in Scripture that we are called to cast our cares on the Lord, but also on one another. In Galatians chapter 6, verse 2, it says, bear one another's burdens and so fulfill the law of Christ. What is being spoken of before that, if anyone is caught in any transgression, you who are spiritual should restore him in a spirit of gentleness. Keep watch on yourself, lest you too be tempted. Then it says, bear one another's burdens. Men have so many weights and so many things on their lives, and ladies do too. And so it's like we need someone in the trenches with us. Yes, we have the Lord. Yes, we have prayer. Yes, all those things. Yes and yes. But we also need brothers, and the ladies need sisters that they can come to and say, I'm really struggling and I need some prayer and I need some encouragement. I texted a brother yesterday that I just met in the group that I'm in, and I was just like, hey, man, was just thinking of you. How can I pray for you? And he's like, man, I just want to be as close to the Lord as I used to be. And I was like, bet, I feel that. Me too. Yeah. And that led to a discussion of, well, how are you being held accountable? How are you being held accountable? And so then he's sharing with me, man, I got a couple of guys in text, and we check on each other each day. And I'm like, dadgummit,
Wow.
It's like I'm in a group, but I felt kind of guilty because the group's going deep. And I'm like, I didn't read today. I don't want to type nothing.
Yeah.
Guilt and shame, all the things. But I just want to, encourage us, like, and anybody listening, once again, like, there are a lot of things going on in this world, a lot of things going on in your heart, your mind. Steve's carrying a lot of things. I'm carrying a lot of things. And if we want to be the best man or woman or husband or wife or spouse or whatever the situation is, parent, whatever the situation is, if we want to be the best that we can possibly be, then we've got to find our identity in Christ. And where that's found is in His Word. As we grow in the Word, we grow in the Lord. And so, if there's any challenge I'm going to leave anybody with after this episode is you heard kind of some of the stuff going on, and we just kind of rambled through some things. But when facing all of those things, we've got to fix our eyes on Jesus, because He's the author and perfecter of our faith. He's directing our lives, and He's writing the story of our lives. And the best way for our story to be written is being close to the author. And so I don't know who out there needed to hear that, be reminded of that. But the Lord wants you to rest in Him and to find peace in Him through all the other chaos and all the things that we face. All that stuff's going to pass away. We were talking earlier, and as we close, we were talking earlier about Steve Jobs and what amazing work he did, and he worked really hard. He worked himself to the bone. But then he kind of passed away before he could fully enjoy all that he had built.
Yeah. And he sacrificed a lot of family time.
And he sacrificed
he did not get to have
a lot of family time. And I wonder, obviously he's not speaking to us, from the grave necessarily, but I wonder, like, if he could have the hindsight to go, would it have been worth it?
Yeah.
And so think about what you're building and why you're building it and who you're building it for. And realize that every person is facing some crazy thing or another and going through a struggle or a battle that no one knows of. And try to walk graciously with the people that you come into contact with, even the people that disagree with your politics or disagree with your points of view. Everyone needs to be shown the love of God. And as believers, it's our job to do that. Father, I just thank you for today. I thank you for Steve and the time that he's put to the side for this podcast. And for anybody listening to this, I pray that this would be a blessing to them. Although this was kind of a rambling episode and just some different things we're just chatting about, just stuff that's in our crawl. And there's just so much that we're carrying, things we're thinking about, things that are impacting our day-to-day lives. As Steve said, it's impacting the jobs and the work sites and different things. And I just pray, Father, that you would just help us as individuals to know how we ought to respond in whatever situation we find ourselves in. Help us to be light in dark places. Help us to be love in the midst of hate. Help us to be gracious where other people are full of contempt and other people are being vitriolic. Help us to have speech that is seasoned with salt and spoken with kindness, spoken in love, but also remind us to stand for the truth of your word. In Jesus' name, amen.